Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Sonia Sapira and I'm going to read the Elling Body Politic from the magazine The Economist, February 12, 2022. The Elling Body Politic. Election aside, the main elements of India's democracy are in poor health. In the next 4 weeks, some 175 million Indians will vote in election across 5 states with a combined population approaching 300 million. The legislature will determine the makeup of the Rajya Sabha, the upper house of parliament, and thus the selection of the president. The upcoming Uttar Pradesh, India's most populous state, could well shake Narendra Modi, India's most domineering prime minister, indicates as an advertisement for democracy in the periodic mobilization of millions of polling officers to provide a safe for hundreds of millions of voters in difficult to beat. But while the face of Indian democracy in the form of election looks healthy, the rest of the body is not. From courts and police to politicians and parties to campaign finance and the mechanic of legislation, the balancing use and organ of Indian democracy look alarmingly unwell. According to the Democracy Index produced by the Economist Intelligence Unit, our sister company, over the past decade, India has slipped our state still on every measure except political participation. An X-ray of India's parliament reveals several missing or half-functioning vital systems. The number of days per year that the national parliament actually meets has fallen from more than 100 in the 1950s to 66 in the 2014 19 terms and further still during COVID-19. America, Congress, by comparison, is typically in session for more than 160 days a year. Many laws do still get passed, but they receive less and less scrutiny. The proportion of bills referred to standing committees in the lower house, the Lok Sabha, has dropped from around 60 until 70% under the previous government to 27% in Mr. Modi's first term and just 13% in his second. Attendance record in committee meetings in both houses for the past 3 years reveal meager average of 46% of the 15 bills rise into law during the monsoon session last year. Not one had been deliberated in committee and many were passed by perfunctory voice votes. This was partly because of opposition walkout and noisy protests, but Mr. Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party similarly ran through a package of agriculture market reform in 2020. The result, 14 months mass revolt by farmers ending only when the laws were scrapped. State legislatures are no better for all the vast and immense expanse over this month's election to the State Assembly of Uttar Pradesh. The fact is that the body met for only 17 days last year and a mere 13 in 2020. This compares with more than 80 days in the 1950s. It is not just the BJP at fault. The legislature in Uttar Pradesh met on just 24 days in the year before the party took power. Congress ruled Punjab, whose lawmakers met for a stately 11 days, was last year's lowest score, and while its rivals bemoan the BJP's bullying of the national parliament, the opposition dominates assembly of the state of Maharashtra attempt to bar 12 and to bar 12 unruly BJP deputies from the building for a year until the Supreme Court intervened. So, what do India 5,000 elected state and national legislators do? If they spend so little time legislating, many are dedicated to serving their constituents, but many appear more devoted to winning back what they spend getting voted and more. According to the Association for Democratic Reforms, a research group, a record 43% of MPs who won seats in the 2019 general election had been charged with a crime, with 29% booked for grave offenses such as rape and murder. This represents a 109% increase on the cohort of 10 years earlier. Crime seems to pay. Analysis shows that a candidate with a criminal record is 3 times more likely to win than one without. Similarly, one with declared assets of more than 50 million rupees or $670,000 is 6 times more likely to succeed than one with less. Term after term, compulsory declaration of assets reveal suspiciously high rise in the wealth of incumbents. If reach and restlessness are crucial for naming foods and street level, they are also needed at the top. Here, the BJP must take a bow, having struck juncture with an ingenious mechanism called electoral bonds introduced in 2018, ostensibly as reform to without Alicia Cass. The scheme allowed for unlimited opaque financing of political parties. A reporter would be unable, for example, to trace links between a billionaire whose fortune spiked after securing lucrative deals from the government and his or her donation to enabling politician, the sole indicator of political funding that is now disclosed is the total amount received. Not surprisingly, the ruling party is gaining the lion's share. In 2020, the BJP's declared assets of $655 million outweigh those of the next 51 political parties combined. More striking, its state rose by 443% in just 5 years. In most democratic courts would have tossed out electoral bonds as a flagrant obstruction of voters' right to know who was funding their political parties. But in another sign of breaking democratic infrastructure, India's Supreme Court has dredged out hearing on the issue indefinitely. Nor have the top judges bothered to take up other obvious challenges to normal democratic function, such as the stripping of statehood from and bifurcation on the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir in 2019. Lower courts have sometimes been more vigilant, but not always. Perhaps not surprisingly, India's democratic drift is reflected in its diplomacy. Despite much backslapping with democratic leaders and membership in groups such as the Quad, a club of big Indo-Pacific countries worried by an increasing belligerent China, India often declines to join other democracies when it comes to, for example, condemning the recent military coup in next-door Myanmar, or the threat by Russia against Ukraine and other neighboring democracies. According to the count kept by America's State Department of voting at the UN General Assembly, over the past 5 years, India has matched America's own votes just 28% of the time. That compares to 23% for China, 30% for Russia, and over 50% for more stalwart democratic allies. This coincidence ratio is hardly a gold standard for democracy. America annoys other countries for a range of reasons, but it seems to reflect the down on democracy views of many Indians who recently told pollsters that they would by a large margin be happy to abolish parliament and accept army rule. More than it does the constitution that has for 7 decades preserved their country from just such a fate. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.